Dear listeners, welcome to Whimsy Woven Stories, where Reddit's tales come alive in mesmerizing narratives.
Honey, we need to. As soon as he heard those words, Corey passed out. You know I love you. That phrase confirmed his fears. Plan A was in action. Excuse me, honey, I need to get something from the car. But Corey, it's very important. He ignored her. Yep, he returned a few minutes later with a gift wrap box and a card. What's this? You'll see Melinda. Hold on, I've got one more thing to do. He went back outside again. She waited a moment before her curiosity became too great to resist. The envelope was addressed to her, and he didn't ask to wait. She opened the envelope and saw a birthday card. Their anniversary was still a few weeks away. Why give it to her now? On the outside of the card was written a sweet romantic message. Flipping it over, she discovered something else, a handwritten note from her husband. Please feel free to wear what's in the box to your date with Todd Friday night. Corey, Melinda shuddered. Shit, he knows. She calmed down. She was going to tell him about Todd tonight anyway. It was going to be on a take it or leave it basis. The point was to make Corey jealous so he'd pay more attention to her. She needed this. Corey had been working overtime for so long that it was clear to her how little he cared for her. She opened the gift box and awed. It was the emerald and diamond necklace she'd fallen in love with many months ago. He must have bailed her out and paid later. Guilt slapped her in the face. God, what have I done? She rushed to the door to see what had delayed Corey. His car had already disappeared from the driveway. Melinda immediately called Todd to let him know that Friday night was canceled. She told him that her husband was aware of it. So what? You were going to tell him anyway. Come on, Melinda. You know you want to. You've been teasing me for weeks now. You owe me at least once. You're a freak. I can't believe I let you seduce me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. No problem, bitch. I can find a woman with better looks and an ass that will fit through the doorway. I only agreed to fuck you because you were so persistent in pursuing me. Just because you don't want to fuck me right now doesn't mean you're not a slut. Good luck with your husband. What am I supposed to do? Melinda sat on the couch wondering what would happen to her marriage. At least he hasn't said anything about divorce. He'll be back tonight, I'm sure of it. We have 18 years of a good marriage and 2 kids. He's not walking away from this. She drank some wine and waited. Melinda was glad the children had already gone to bed. The next morning, Melinda woke up on the couch, still clutching the box with the necklace in her hands. She figured Corey was back and didn't want to bother her. She ran up the stairs, nearly tripping because of her haste. Calling out to Corey, she peeked into the bedroom. The bed was made. No one had slept in it last night. Her daughter emerged from the bedroom at the end of the hallway. Mom, isn't that the outfit you were wearing yesterday? What happened? Barrett was her 14-year-old daughter. It was time to rectify the situation. Barry, I fell asleep on the couch. I just woke up. I must have had enough wine to fall asleep. I have to hurry to get ready for work. Is Dad downstairs? I need to tell him about the soccer game time change. The junior high game got canceled, so the seniors are playing earlier. I hope he can make it. This will be my first time playing goalie. It scares me a little bit. Your dad got a call last night. He had to go out of town on a work emergency. I'll tell him your schedule changed. You know he hates missing your games. I'm sure he'll come if at all possible. Their son Brady came out of his room. He was in a sullen mood. Melina said, "Good morning, Brady." He lowered his head and muttered, "Yes, sure." He paused and added, "Daddy's gone, huh?" Melinda choked for a second. He left on a last-minute business trip. He'll be home soon. Again, she was rewarded. Yes, of course. He looked like he was about to cry, but instead he went downstairs. Melinda arrived at work a few minutes late. She looked around, afraid that someone would find out what had happened. She convinced herself that her fears were unfounded. But her secretary, Lynn, handed her several messages. Melinda quickly scanned through them, hoping one of them had been sent by Corey. No such luck. Instead, the secretary informed her, "Look, I don't know what's going on between you and this Todd guy, but I didn't like him swearing at me when I told him you weren't here yet. Lynn, he's a jerk you can dump if he calls you back. I'm sorry he did that to you." She worried that his call meant her secret was leaking out. Melinda didn't do her job very efficiently that morning. She finally gave up and called Corey's office. Barbara was his secretary with whom she had a good relationship. Malinda, what can I do for you? I'd like to talk to my husband. There was a pause before Barbara answered. I assumed he was with you. He called and took a personal day off. I figured you must be exhausted after he gave you your anniversary present last night. He did give it to you, didn't he? Yes. How do you know he gave me anything? Are you kidding? We wondered why Corey was always volunteering to work overtime. Why did he need the extra money? He was very secretive. We even had a pool to find out what the reason was. The men said it was to pay for an abortion for his girlfriend. Women said it was to pay for gambling debt. We were so embarrassed when he came in one morning with a wide grin on his face. He showed me the necklace first. I cried. It was so beautiful. The other women in the office huddled around it. Melinda, I have to warn you. Several women have said they want Corey first if you decide to get rid of him. I told them there was no way a woman would get rid of a husband who would give her such a gift. What was your reaction when you saw him? Melinda had to think fast. I am speechless. And why did you call? Never mind. I just remembered where Corey was by. Melinda had no idea where Corey was, but she was afraid of what he might do. She went to the computer and looked up their joint accounts online. There was $1,000 withdrawn from their account. Melina felt some relief. She had been afraid he would withdraw half of it in preparation for divorce, or the entire amount in preparation to burn the bitch. She had no way to test how he would do otherwise. There were too many divorce attorneys to try to reach every one of them. In the midst of Melinda's mental confusion that day, she received an email from Corey on her work account. Her heart raced as she anxiously read the email. Melinda, my heart almost burst when I found out you might be planning a date with some guy named Todd. I already bought a card and a necklace. I've decided to give you one chance. Either you're going to tell me that you've realized your mistake and you're not going to date Todd, or you're going to have a lover despite having a husband. As you know, you chose the latter option. That's when my heart broke completely. Now you know that my overtime was a means of getting money to give you the necklace you wanted so badly. If I had known it would cost me my marriage, I never would have done it. I just didn't think you'd lose faith in me so quickly. It seems that even after almost 15 years of marriage, we don't know each other very well. One thing I hoped you knew about me was that I was fully committed to your happiness. That's still true despite what you just did. Therefore, I allow you to have the man of your choice and will not interfere with your happiness with him. I'm leaving. You can file for divorce. I won't sign it, but I won't contest it. Besides, you can keep the necklace. Not only can I get it back, but the necklace was bought when I thought we were a couple for life. Please consider it as a final token of my love for you. I also wrote to my children about my departure. Parting with them is much more difficult than parting with you. The deciding factor in allowing me to leave them was the realization that your new husband will have to become part of the family you and I have created. Visits to me would only delay the successful merging of the new family. I hoped I had conveyed my everlasting love for them and why I am doing what I believe is best for all of us. I apologize for any negative reactions this may cause them. Maybe you can arrange therapy for them. I hope your new husband has money to replace my income. I only took out $1,000 because I knew it would probably take you a while to get used to the loss of my income. It's time for me to leave. I sincerely hope things work out the way you planned. Corey, Melinda took a sick day for the rest of the day and braced herself for any reaction from her children. Her stomach was tying itself in knots. Barrett and Brady got off the bus at the usual time. They were a little surprised to see Mom's car there. They figured it had something to do with their dad. What's going on, Mom? Did you read the letter from Dad? No, we've been at school all day. What's the matter? Is something wrong with Dad? Does he have cancer? No, that's not what's wrong. I think you need to look at your email and come back to talk. The kids went to their rooms. Brady went to his sister's room to read the email with her. A few minutes later, they went downstairs. Barrett looked angry, and Brady was crying. Melinda asked, "Do you have any questions?" Barrett said, "When is your boyfriend moving in?" "I don't have a boyfriend. I made a big mistake. No one is moving in. I hope I can convince your father to move back in. I need to apologize. This is my fault, not his." Brady shouted through his tears. "Stop it. It's my fault Daddy left." Melinda tried to comfort him. Brady, it's not your fault, I know. No, I'm the one who told him about you and Todd. What? How did you find out? You know how much I love messing around with electronic stuff, so I developed a way to tap your phone. I recorded some conversations. Dad caught me and took the tapes. I think he replayed your conversations with Todd. I've never seen him so sad. He made me promise not to tell. I'm sorry. Brady sobbed. Melinda thought, well, now I know how he found out. Days went by day after day. Weeks went by week after week. 4 months later, news finally broke. Corey's car was found wrecked and abandoned. In the glove compartment was his wallet with all his money, Idaho, and credit cards. Melinda now knew the source of the mysterious credit card bills. Corey was nowhere to be seen. The police assumed it was a botched carjacking. Most likely, Corey was dead, but the whereabouts of his body were unknown. When a year had passed, Melinda filed for divorce on the grounds of abandonment. This was necessary for her to gain access to Corey's remaining assets, which she did not already have. Filing the papers was very painful. She had to take a part-time job in addition to her regular job. Barrett and Brady complained about having to take on extra work to make up for their father's absence. They never stopped reminding their mother of what her mistake had cost them. Melinda never went on a date. She received offers from men to help her, but it was usually clear that in exchange, they expected her to have sex. Until she knew what had happened to Corey, there would be no other men. It had been 3 years since Corey had disappeared with nothing known about him except his wrecked car. They had managed to put out missing persons notices in every city where credit cards were used, but to no avail. Christmas was approaching. Barrett and Brady were asked what they wanted for Christmas. Their wish matched their mother's and was the same as last year and the year before the return of Corey. One evening, the phone rang. An emergency room doctor in Texas was treating a man with an old scar from a .22 caliber rifle. The doctor was one of those with a perfect memory. He memorized this detail from a missing person's notice. Someone had found an old copy and called Melinda. She asked where he was now. She nearly fainted when she was told, at a local homeless shelter. Melinda got the number of the shelter and called the director. Do you have Corey Johnson? She was shocked when the director answered in the negative. Then Melinda began to describe Corey and the director. We have a man with amnesia we call Rustler. He used to work for the local rancher who gave him the name. He swears he doesn't know his real name or where he's from. Please take a picture of him and send it to me. We've been looking for him for 3 years. The principal agreed, and 15 minutes later Melinda had a picture of a bearded, tanned, thin man. It took a while before Melinda could see enough of a resemblance to say it could be him. She showed the picture to Barry, who immediately said, "That's Dad." Brady agreed. Melinda arranged to go pick him up. The principal warned that the man might not want to go. Melinda decided to take her brother, Corey, with her. She needed someone who wouldn't exceed the car's 90 miles per hour speed limit and whom Corey could recognize. She prayed during the trip with her ex-brother-in-law behind the wheel. He prayed for his safety as she drove. They arrived at the orphanage after a 14-hour drive that had been covered in 11 hours. Melinda approached the director, and the man was called into her office. The man did not recognize Melinda or Rory, her brother. She tried to hug him, but he said, "Wow, lady, I haven't had a woman in a long time, but I'm not going to get involved with you just because you think I'm your long-lost husband. Corey, I know it's you. I can tell by your voice. The long hair, beard, and lean body are different, but I know it's you. Don't you recognize your brother, Rory? You're kidding, Corey and Rory. Who the hell would name their sons that? Are you saying we're twins?" Rory interjected. "No, Askreddit. Our parents were too cute for their own good. Cut the crap. It's time for you to come home." Melinda added, "Your kids have grown so much since you left. They haven't given up hope that you'll come back. Here, I took a picture of them just before you left." The man saw a picture of 2 children holding a sign that read, "Welcome home, Daddy." Beautiful kids, they sympathize with you. They look like both of us, Corey. Never mind. Anyway, what's the story with you showing up here? Melinda recounted what had happened, including the unfulfilled tryst with Todd. She was honest and apologetic. She told him that they were divorced. The man responded, "Let's see if I got this right. You are a cuckold to your old man. He's such a wimp that he doesn't even shoot your lover. He just takes off, leaving you with 2 kids and a lover to take care of. Then you divorce him. Sounds like the end to me. What do you need me for? I need you to be my husband. Your kids need you to be their father. We can get married again. I only divorced you for economic reasons. I never stopped loving you, even when I used Todd to make you jealous. I still love you. You have a life waiting for you to get on with it. Rory intervened. Get your head out of your ass, little brother, and do what you have to do. Fuck you. Bro sounds to me like that Corey guy did the right thing, except he didn't castrate his wife's lover. Anyway, what's in store for me if I come back with you? Rory replied again, as if you have better prospects here. Melinda assured Corey, come back and see what awaits you. A nice house, good food, 2 kids, and a wife who loves you. What am I going to do for money? Maybe you can go back to your old job, but until then I'll give you some money to live on. Will you let me buy a drink with that money? If that's what it takes. Okay, I'll try, but I can't promise anything. Rory interjected. Melinda, I'm not sure you should do that. What? I didn't come all this way to let him escape again. Once we get him home, he'll change. I know that. Don't say I didn't warn you. They drove back. They soon wished they'd made him bathe before the trip. Melinda stopped at the first Walmart to pick up some new clothes and then went to the truck stop to take a shower. The trip went much smoother, although the man refused to shave his bread, which was now clean. The man was tired of being asked, does this look familiar to you? Don't you remember when we used to go there, asterisk, 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 asterisk? Of course, you know what it is. Soon he was simply ignoring the questions. Barely had the car door opened when 2 children ran up to the man and hugged him. He barely refrained from returning the hug, but that didn't stop their enthusiasm. They begged him to tell the story as they sat down at the kitchen table. He asked for coffee to be brought. My life as I know it began on a stretch of road where I was wandering. I had a lump and a gash on my head. Dried blood covered half my face. Someone drove past me and called someone on the phone. A short time later, a deputy picked me up and took me to the emergency room. I didn't remember anything and didn't have my wallet. The police ran my fingerprints and found no matches, nor was there a missing persons report for someone matching my profile. The sheriff thought I'd been carjacked and robbed. He offered to let me stay here until they found me. When I asked where I should stay and what I should do to make money, he advised me to go to the XXX ranch. They hired workers all the time and provided room and board as part of my paycheck, which was just enough to get drunk every Friday. That's how I started working on the ranch. I wasn't a very good ranch worker, but I worked hard. I worked there for over 2 years. One day I was fixing a barbed wire fence and it snapped off one of the poles and quickly coiled back up, and I was in the middle of the coil. The head of the ranch took me to the ambulance and gave me my last paycheck. I was fired. The ER doctor asked me about the bullet wound in my shoulder. I told him I didn't know where it came from. I then told him I had amnesia. I was sent to a homeless shelter. Before I could figure out what to do, the shelter director sent a picture of me. She later told me that she received a call from a woman who said she was my wife and was on her way to pick me up. I was hoping I had a young, rich, trophy wife, but your mother doesn't look that bad, but she doesn't seem to be my type. She came with some guy who said he was my brother. I was given your picture. I wanted to get to know you, but it didn't work out. You look like great kids. I just don't know if I'm your dad or not. I'm here for a while to see if I remember anything. You're our daddy, and we're not letting you go again. This time the hug was fully reciprocated. Melinda wiped her eyes and said, let's take your things upstairs. They went upstairs, and she showed him the master bedroom. I guess it's too early for you to think about sleeping with me. Let's put your things in the guest bedroom. Lady, I haven't had sex in a long time. You're certainly attractive enough to make me want to do you. But if we had sex now, it would just be sex, not lovemaking. If that's enough for you, it's enough for me too. Maybe in a few days. I want to make love to my husband, not a homeless stranger. Melinda had to go back to work in a few days. She didn't want to leave the man alone. She tried to persuade him to shave off his beard and visit his old place of work. But the man didn't want to do that yet. As soon as Melinda and the children left, the man breathed a sigh of relief. Corey breathed a sigh of relief. The man spoke to a part of Corey. Everything is going according to plan. Almost everything we hoped for while we were walking around after the hijacking and robbery has come true. I don't know about you, but I'm still mad that the hijacker got hold of our $1,000. But there's nothing we can do about it now. I can't believe how hard it was to locate ourselves. We did almost everything except call home and say, "Come get me." We went to the doctors several times. We talked to law enforcement several times. It was almost a year after we decided it was time to come home before someone finally discovered us. Now we can finalize our revenge on Melinda. I think you've noticed how mature the kids have gotten. I can't wait until we can be involved in their lives again. The man was taught everything their father did around the house. He attended school activities equally with their father. He was now reacting to being called Corey. He shaved off his beard and was shown to his old office. He was offered a job, but not his old job. He accepted. Melinda was pleased with the way things were progressing. One night, she came into Corey's room. "I'm ready to be fucked now. Making love can be done later." She was surprised that he responded by making love. It was deja vu. Life, as before, was coming back. It was time to think about getting married again. And then what happened. Corey was sitting with Melinda one evening after the kids had gone to bed. "Melinda, we need to talk." Her heart dropped into her stomach. She remembered well what had happened when she'd said those words to him almost 4 years ago. "It's been wonderful to be a part of this family these past few months. The children are wonderful, and you are a wonderful mother and lover. I hate to break the spell we've been bewitched by. I can't help it, but I've fallen in love with a woman for my job. We've chatted, had lunch together a few times, and now we want to plan a weekend away together. We haven't had sex yet, but we'll do it this weekend. I realize this will change our relationship, but I hope you'll let us stay friends and I can keep in touch with the kids." Melinda's head fell into her hands and she burst into uncontrollable tears. "Why, Lord? Why are you punishing me so much for one mistake? Can't you forgive me? Must I always suffer for my misdeeds?" She continued to cry and wail for over half an hour. Corey didn't try to comfort her. He just let her be exhausted. Corey spoke when she quieted down. "Melinda, I don't think I'm God, but I finally think I've punished you enough. If you can't forgive me for today's final act of revenge, I'd like to be your husband again and the father of our children." "What? You're telling me the whole thing was just a bloody spectacle? You're a bastard. You're a freak, a pathetic excuse for a human being. You're a pile of shit. You made me feel like I did when you announced your affair." That statement made her wince. "Did I really make you feel that bad about me?" "Yes. How do I know you really felt that way and we're going to punish me even more?" "I thought you might be wondering that. I have an early Christmas present for you." He pulled a package from under the Christmas tree. "Is this gift supposed to help you get back to me?" "I hope so." She opened the box. It was the emerald and diamond necklace she had to pawn to make ends meet after Corey's disappearance. Melinda burst into tears. "Melinda, is that enough for you to forgive me? Maybe if you pick the right earrings and put on some makeup."
Thank you for listening. Please share your opinion about this story in comment section. Also make sure to like and subscribe to the channel.